Okay, so the book that I read was The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The date of publication was 2012. So this story is about a girl named Hazel Grace who was battling with cancer and still is battling with cancer. And her mother made her go to these meetings where kids who have their own issues with cancer meet, and she meets this guy named Gus or Augustus, and they fall in love, and they both share like stories that are their favorites. And the story that she shares doesn't have an ending, and she has so many questions about it, and it's been her favorite book for years. And she's been looking for the author, but the author sort of like dropped off the face of the earth. And Gus, that guy Gus, actually found the author, and he used the Make-A-Wish Foundation to go for both of them to go and meet the guy and ask questions. But he was sort of like a really big dick and wouldn't answer the questions. Sorry, but like he wouldn't answer any of their questions, and so Gus decided to create an ending for her. Now she thought Hazel Grace thought that she was going to die first of cancer because he had already battled with cancer and he had sort of like won one of the issues with it, but he actually died first, and he told her that he was going to die first, but she didn't know about it until the end. So he dies by the end of the book, and the book sort of like ends a little differently as well than what I thought. Okay, so my first question is how does a form of what does a form of work say about its content? This is sort of like a traditional book. I mean, like, it's got a beginning and an end, although the ending is sort of like leaves you with more questions, but of course what book doesn't? But the way that it's written is sort of unusual, and I sort of really like it because it's not like this is what happened, like it's not like in order, like this is what happens, this is how it goes, and the sentence structures are sort of like really interesting. Like this one page 102, like the quotes literally read, he responded a few minutes later, okay. I wrote back, okay. He responded, oh my god, stop flirting with me. I just said, okay. Then my phone buzzed moments later. I'm kidding, Hazel Grace, I understand. And then there's other quotes in the book as well, like, if I could just stay alive for a week, I know the unwritten secrets of Anna's mom and the Dutch tulip guy. I looked down my blouse at my shirt. Keep your shit together, I whispered to my lungs. Like, the sentence structure of these are really entertaining and really interesting, and it's not like bland, and it's not like straightforward. It's sort of like entertaining in the way that it's read. Okay, so my second question is how does a work use imagery to develop its own symbols? So while Hazel Grace and Gus were actually going to these meetings, there was another couple there, and one of the guys, he had a girlfriend, and he actually he had a type of cancer that actually made the doctors take out one eye, and soon he was actually going back in and they were taking out both eyes. And this couple, their word that they would always say whenever they'd see each other was always. And always was like their forever word, like I'll always love you, always whatnot, but like they'd always just say always. Always. And it was like it would randomly come out of like in between sentences, after sentences, whenever they would do something, it's just always. So like I just read that quote that was on 102 where they kept saying okay. Okay was their always word. So it was sort of like this book is like interesting in a way where it's just, the point of it is that like infinities. Like there's a really famous quote and where it's like, you gave me infinity in such a small time, but I thank you for that infinities because some infinities are larger than others, but some are smaller. And it's sort of like, okay was their infinity in always. So I thought it was really interesting. There's also another one where it's wish granting factory. And I thought this one was interesting because she had already used her wish for Make-A-Wish Foundation to go to Disneyland when she was younger. He hadn't used his, but he used his in this book that we saw to go meet the author, like with both of them. But there's a quote from 214, and it goes, "It's not fair," I said. "It's just so goddamned unfair. The world," he said. "It's not a wish-granting factory." And I thought this was a really interesting quote, and I think it's really true, because these kids, these group of kids that even go to like, the meetings, are all struggling through cancer or through something rough going through their life, and it's not fair, and they look at it as, you know, the world's just not a wish granting factory. So I thought it was really cool. There's also another one, cancer. Throughout this whole book, like, the main thing is cancer, even though like they fall in love, and love is a huge entire thing. It's completely really always about cancer. And one of the quotes that I really liked from this was, somewhere he said dismissively, "What am I at war with? My cancer? And what is my cancer? My cancer is me. The tumors are made of me. They're made of me as surely as my brain and my heart are made of me. It's a civil war, Hazel Grace, with a predetermined winner." And I think that's really quite an amazing quote, because even though they're like struggling with cancer, and they all have a different type of cancer, and like they have so many different bad things going around them, where families are just like falling apart and they're dealing with their own issues, they still look at it as, you know what, I can't really do anything about it. I'm gonna live the way that I want to live, but cancer is just a part of me. I can't really do anything about cancer. I just want to continue the way that I am. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so after that, there's the last question. In what ways does it help you think about the book in a new way? In what ways does it not seem to work? So, I thought this book was really amazing. This is probably actually the best book that I've read in a while. I thought it was really good. Sorry, hold on. I mean, I've had my issues where I've been in the hospital and I've had different things going on, and like, to read a book like this where all these people are struggling with cancer and yet they still find ways to be happy, and they still look at things in a whole different way, and they still like, they decide to, like, the idea of using Make-A-Wish Foundation to go and can help them like continue on with their lives and do something that they love, I find is really incredible, because they're just like, all right, well, this is going on, so let me find a way to like go with it, like, why not? So I thought it's really interesting the way that it was used. In what ways does it not seem to work? I didn't really find anything with the book that I didn't really like. I sort of thought it was a really interesting book, the way that it was written out. I loved the way that they used like the sentence structure. I thought it was really interesting, really unique in a different way. I really liked how the story happened. It sort of like, it left me with a few questions, because this book does technically have an ending where the boyfriend Gus dies and she's sort of still left there. But just like the book that she fell in love with and that she had her boyfriend fall in love with that didn't have an ending, I sort of felt like this book almost had like a questionable ending. Like, you knew that the book ended and you knew that it was sort of ending on like a really interesting basis, where it's just like, all right, he died, but like, you don't know what happens to Hazel Grace. I mean, you know that she dies because you know she's struggling from cancer, but you don't know how much longer. You don't know like how it happens, which is the same sort of question she was left after she finished the book that was her favorite. So I thought it was sort of like really interesting the way that it worked, but I just had questions on like what happened. I know that that's a specific way that it ended, and I liked the way that it ended, but I mean, it sort of just leaves me with questions asking more. But I guess that's what a book should do. So, yeah. Thank you. Have a nice day.